you guys? All right, so I pulled some cards and I just to save time, and I want to dive right in to what I'm seeing here. I got some really like interesting specific messages, but underneath the deck to start out, we're getting this Two of Pentacles upright and Eight of Wands. And I keep getting the same energetics in my readings over and over again. And it has to do with making a choice that's then going to lead to very swift movement. I've said it multiple times in the last 2 weeks. And so again, there's this juggling, needing to make a decision, a material world choice. Like this is a very tangible thing. This isn't just like, oh, you're considering things in the mental realm. This is like juggling the world, the material world. And it's a choice. And like I said, once the choice is made, it opens. It's almost like I see this opening happening where things have been very contracted or very trapped, stuck like that. It's feeling tight. And then all of a sudden there's like this opening that happens. Now, underneath those two cards, interestingly, and I got a really specific message here, so I'm not sure what this means for you guys out there, but I got the Devil reversed, Queen of Wands reversed, Empress reversed. This also, this distorted feminine energy keeps coming up over and over again. And this is what I want to say here, because I got a few messages. Number one, I want to say there is a need, because part of breaking that cycle of the distorted feminine energy, whether it's within yourself or you're seeing it show up in your relationships or you're in a relationship with a woman like this, you know what I mean? It could be so many things. It's like liberating yourself from this type of energetic requires like an expansiveness, a love that expands, kindness, a surrendering, and allowing. So there's this, just energetically what I'm feeling is this tension of opposites. It's like a very tight, contracted energy, and then this like big, bright, expansive energy, like a light, beautiful, glowing energy, and then this like tight, contracted, controlling, suffocated energy. So like I said, is this an aspect of you? Is this an actual relationship that you're experiencing? Obviously it's both, because relationships are a mirror of how we feel within. But another really specific, interesting message that I got, and I'm just going to say it because I'm sure someone out there needs to hear this. I heard when I saw these cards all together, like that someone is resolving an issue where there's been like sexual, like an exploitative, is that the word? Like an oh my God. I can see it in my mind, like exploiting sexual energy, but it's that exploitative word was the word that I saw in my mind. And so what does that mean? I'm like, this could mean many things. But it's almost like if you hold a lot of shame around that energetic within you, then you probably attract people who are also ashamed of it themselves, and they might really reject that energy or be very critical of other people or very judgmental of other people around that energy. I don't want to get censored on here, and so I can't say like sex too many times, but or sexual. It's not because I don't want to, it's because I don't want YouTube to ding my videos. Bottom line, there's something going on with that energy that wants to be healed. And I'm not really surprised. You know, a big part of my practice and how I serve and help my clients is around sacred sexuality and resolving these distortions. Because we hold so many, I mean, just that topic alone is so fully loaded for people with conditioning, how we were brought up, maybe religion, right? Like the generation of our parents, especially if you're around my age, or if you're like in your 40s or 50s, or even if you're in your 30s, like most of our parents struggled with that stuff, right? It wasn't accepted or it wasn't spoken about. So there's a lot of healing that wants to happen around this. But like I said, I got a very specific message there about that. So it's almost like someone's holding something over somebody else's head or using it against them. I don't know. So moving along here, I got the King of Cups reversed and then the King of Swords upright. King of Cups. So there is like, again, these court cards could be many things. They could be people. They could be aspects of self. It could be both. But we're getting King of Cups reversed, King of Swords. And then with that, we're getting the Saint of Spoken Words. And it says, I am Every word I say becomes a prayer. I'm the author of my own story with Let It Be Easy, saying there's a battle raging between your inner critic and your sense of empowerment. So someone, like, there's like an emotional struggle here. Someone feeling very emotionally out of balance. But part of the reason why you're feeling emotionally out of balance is because you need to make a clear choice. That's the King of Swords. It's like using your discernment to cut through the bullshit, to cut through the confusion and the white noise. As I said, when you make a decision here, things are going to start to move really quickly. Maybe you're afraid of things moving quickly and that's why you haven't been deciding. But either way, it's saying the saint of spoken word. It feels like there needs to be a communication. Like when I started the reading, my throat started to close up, and that's been happening a lot lately. Maybe you need to say something, you know, maybe that the decision that needs to be made is a communication that needs to happen. So maybe you need to communicate it to yourself first. Maybe you just need to say it out loud. It says, every word I say is a prayer. Like words are spells. So what words are you using or not using? You know what I mean? And also to expand on that, like, do you need to speak something to somebody else? I will say that underneath the deck, I didn't mention these, but I got the Dakini, the Enlightened Feminine. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me with Mirror, Mirror. And right away, it's like I said, this distorted feminine energy is the opposite of the enlightened feminine, right? The Dakini is the enlightened, again, the intuitive part of you that like trusts that above everything else. So logic has its place. Of course it does, right? Like we need our logic. But right now, what you need to do is actually trust your intuition and tap into this aspect of yourself. This is, like I said, the opposite of that distorted feminine energy. And with Mirror, Mirror, it's like the relationships in your life are mirroring back to you what it is that you need to do. So whatever you think that person isn't doing, for example, you need to do that thing. Whatever you're judging about this other person, you need to do that thing. So use this as the mirror, but this can be a very uncomfortable energy. Queen of Wands and Empress reversed. I say that the energetic around your sensuality, etc., because the Queen of Wands is the embodiment of that. Next to the Empress reversed, like I said, it might be like a pattern of women who struggle with that, or like maybe you were raised by women that struggled with that. Most of us were. But this is what you need to free yourself from. Like the Devil reversed is the end of that pattern. It's a liberation. And part of it is to trust your intuition. Part of it's to trust your body, the wisdom of your body. But if we feel shame around our bodies, then we might be also not feeling inclined to trust our body's messages or what we're receiving through our body. And so in the second set of cards here, we're getting the Page of Swords, Seven of Pentacles. Now, I always look at like the directions of the cards, who's looking at who, you know what I mean, like how the cards line up. And the Page of Swords is looking at these two kings. Like this, looking straight at them. And then the Seven of Pentacles. There's a waiting, a watching and waiting, I'm hearing. Watching and waiting, watching and waiting, watching and waiting. Now, to clarify those, I got the Temple of Love, and then I'll tell you what that means after, and the Black Madonna, which says, Our Lady of the Hermits, I transform pain and suffering into a greater capacity to love. I'm feeling like, I'm hearing watching, waiting, watching, waiting. The Temple of Love says, cultivating a deeper and stronger capacity for love through contemplation is a daily discipline. Establishing a consistent routine for both your head, heart, and in your physical surroundings can and should be joyful and inspiring. See, so it's saying make it a devotional practice to cultivate deeper and stronger relationship for love. A devotional practice inside and out, both in your physical space, but also maybe internally. To transform that pain and suffering into love. What am I getting here? I'm getting so many messages. Hold on, let me clarify this watching, waiting. What is this watching and waiting energy? The joy permeated mother. Here we go again. Mother energy in the light attribute. It says, I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. Very locked into that enlightened feminine, trusting your intuition. I am my own guru. What are you watching and waiting for? It's like you know the answer. This entire reading is really about trusting yourself, but trusting the part of yourself that you've probably never really fully trusted before, and allowing that to start to guide you. You know, interestingly today, and I don't usually do this, I felt a real call. I got this interesting email last night about like writing a message, like a letter to your angels. It was just some random person that I'm like subscribed to, and I got this email. And it's interesting because I have been calling angels in. I've been getting all those messages, if you guys have been watching the readings, about miracles. And don't get it twisted. Those angels are just waiting to intervene. Sometimes you just have to ask. And so I have been asking. And what do you know? After, the last couple of weeks, I get this really, there's nothing random, this email that says, it's like a template to write a letter to your angels to ask for their assistance. I was like, well, I have been asking. And then I got literally a template to write. So I said, you know what? I said, tomorrow I'm going to just do it. So this morning when I woke up, after I meditated, I took out my journal and I did the letter in the format that it said, asking for assistance, etc. Then I disposed of that, released that energy, got rid of it, I left the apartment, and then I did some automatic writing, and I received some really interesting stuff, and I haven't done that in a long time. I did that for about an hour, and I want to say that, your intuition is so powerful, but if you've never trusted it before, you're always going to your logic. Even with the King of Cups coming reversed, but coming with the King of Swords, it's that logical place might be your comfort zone. It might be what your, your, almost like the default. But right now, to heal all this distorted feminine energy, to me, is a lack of self-trust, a lack of trusting your intuition. You are your own guru. The answers are not out there. So if you're looking outside, this is why I don't do a lot of readings. And now that I'm doing these tarot readings, if you've noticed, I'm guiding you back to yourself. You are not helpless, you know what I mean, or powerless. You're powerful. You need to understand the tools and build the skills to trust your own intuition. Right? I'm not your guru either. So teach a person to fish and they eat for their whole life. I want to teach people to fish. I want to teach you how to go trust yourself so that you're not outsourcing your power and looking elsewhere for the answers. Well, that's what I'm getting in this reading. It's time to actually trust. Your intuition is actually extremely strong. All you need to do is let it be your guide and start with one small thing at a time. But it feels, unfortunately, this is one of those moments where you have a really big choice to make. And so it isn't small, and so you might be putting a lot of pressure looking outside of yourself for the right answer, looking for too many signs. There are those memes that it's you keep asking your angels for signs and your angel's rolling his eyes what the fuck? I've sent this person 100. What else do you need? You know what I mean? And we're over here just one more sign, just one more sign. Then you have to get hit over the head with it or something. That's what I'm getting. So I'm just going to pull, where am I at for time? Yeah, let me just pull one more card. This will be a short one tonight. What do we need to know? What's the advice? Joan of Arc reversed, and I'll pull one more. And Kuan Yin reversed. See what I was saying about there needing to be this compassionate, light, feminine, divine feminine energy? That you need to let that lead you? So we're getting Joan of Arc, the warrior of light, reversed. I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armor me with conviction. Wow. After that whole talk about angels, you guys, I can't read without my glasses if you've been here for a minute. I didn't know this card said that. I hadn't even pulled it. Don't play. The angels are so, I didn't used to believe in these things until I shared with you guys in one of my readings about a car accident that I had where I really felt that was angelic assistance. It wasn't my time. but I've had multiple instances where I've asked my angels, like I said, for me to be doing this lately, and then all of a sudden I receive an email that's like, write to your angels, and this is how, follow this template, and ask them for assistance. It was literally like, ask, what was that called? That, like, you guys are too young probably. If you watch my videos, maybe you're older. Those like Ask Anne or whatever it was, like where you write in for like a love column in the newspaper. It's like the angels being like, here, just write to us and we're gonna get right on that for you. So it's saying the angels armor me with conviction. It's in the reverse. I have a still like faith in myself. This is what you need. This is the message. And with that is coming Kuan Yin reverse, and it says, the goddess of compassion. I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. This other card too, I transform pain and suffering into a greater capacity to love. There's a need to recognize your suffering to release it, just like these cards under the deck. The devil card reversed is to release the suffering, but you have to recognize it first. See it for what it is and let it go. So it says, curiosity breeds compassion. Well, why? Because if you're being too... if you're grasping to one logical answer or one outcome or one way of doing things, this is part of what's throwing you off. Because your intuition is probably saying that the possibilities are more limitless, but you're like, no, it needs to be X, Y, Z. This is what I think. I'm getting too attached to a certain thing logically, and it's blocking the ability for other solutions to reveal themselves, is what I'm hearing. So curiosity also breeds compassion. If there's some message that you need to hear, hold on, I'm going to look in the book. Curiosity breeds compassion. Because when we make assumptions about people, like we're not being curious. When we make assumptions about how people are or how they should be or how they will always be or people don't change, etc., like it's very hard to be compassionate when we're clinging to a specific story or narrative about a person. And this is asking us to really open up our minds. My throat is really dry, so yeah. It's saying Kuan Yin is about the deep medicine that comes simply from being willing to bear witness to someone else's pain, to really listen. We have to move from the ego to the soul so that the story we're listening to doesn't become about us or trigger us. This also applies to the moments when we're listening to the story we tell ourselves about who we are, like I was just saying. We're often far harsher and less forgiving to ourselves than we would ever be to someone else. Kuan Yin suggests that we listen simply with curiosity. This allows us to detach from needing to take the suffering of someone we love personally. Curiosity is a door that leads to compassion. It frees us from feeling as though we have to react to what we hear or defend and explain our part in their suffering. We can just perceive the pain that they're in. Or we can finally hear our own cries of despair and not seek to judge or justify them. We can just be present to what needs to be heard. Kuan Yin is the powerful energy of giving witness to our own or to someone else's suffering. Often just a calm, abiding presence of compassion is all that's needed to transform their suffering into clear light. What pain or suffering can I listen to now with curiosity? See what I mean? There's just this enlightened feminine energy showing up under the deck, being like, sometimes I said this in the last video I made too about building intimacy when you're used to being alone. It's like sometimes all a person needs, or all that you need personally, is to bear witness to your own suffering or pain. Not with judgment, not to immediately try to fix it or whatever. Just observe, just bear witness. And sometimes what somebody else needs is the same thing. They might just need to be heard. Not to try to get you, they don't want you to come in and be like, I'll fix it, I'll fix you. Oh, you're fucked up, or oh, this is hurting my feelings because you're telling me about it. It's like, sometimes people just need to be heard. They just need a safe space to be witnessed. And maybe you need to be that witness for someone else, you know? And maybe somebody needs to communicate something. I don't know who needs to communicate with who, or if it's just your own practice that you need to do with yourself. But whatever the case may be, it's like as soon as you recognize the suffering, you can release it. But if you ignore it, you pretend like it's not there, or you're so busy trying to judge it and criticize it, and do you know what I mean? You're not open-minded and curious. it's a contraction happening, and there wants to be an expansion is all I keep seeing. There's like this tightness that wants to just relax. It's like if your hands are so tight, it's like I can't receive anything, but as soon as you relax your hands, they're open, you can receive. I'm just going to leave it at that. Also because my throat is so dry. But you guys know everything is linked. When the throat closes up and it's like, it feels like I'm drinking sandpaper, there's definitely something that wants to unfold here. So take what resonates, leave the rest. I love you guys. If you have feedback about this or if this really resonates, drop it in the comments. I'm just curious. But otherwise, I can support you if you guys want a personal reading in a 90-minute session. I've got the link to 90-minute intuitive readings below. And otherwise, I will see you in the next one.